Hello everyone, Storm 101 here. Today we'll be tracking a possible winter storm day going on across some of the northeastern United States, going back into portions of the Mid-Atlantic, even across some of the mountains of southeastern Kentucky, eastern Tennessee, and even western North Carolina as well. These will be areas we're going to watch for what could be a decent amount of snow across some of these regions, especially right around Super Bowl, which is going to be tomorrow. So let's go ahead and get started with the HRRR model. This model here does a pretty decent job with, we're really speaking here, it's done pretty well this winter, to say the least. So let's kind of get into later tonight, eventually get into early tomorrow morning. So we have two pieces of energy. You got one right here, and you got your main low that will eventually start to develop somewhere right down here. You also have an upper level low somewhere right in here, which for some of these regions here, it may just be warm enough just to be an all rain event, unfortunately. But some snow could still develop because of rain cooled air. And that's what we're going to watch for. That's some of the models we were showing yesterday. That some of that rain cool air can transition from light to moderate rain over to some possibly heavy wet snow across those regions, which you can get accumulations pretty quickly in some of those regions, especially where the ground is actually a little bit below freezing in some spots. So let's kind of continue here. So this is 9Z Sunday, so this is getting to Sunday morning. You can see here we got a low right here. This is eventually going to move to the northeast. Watch this region here. We have some high uncertainty around Washington, D.C., which I think I may know why that's the case here with some of these models here showing not much of a lot of snow coming down. But going back to the west here, you got some places picking up some at times heavy snow across really southeastern Kentucky, eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina, and south and even southern Virginia as well could get on a decent amount of snow. And look at here. Now, this may be due to, some of the cities' heat. Some cities out there kind of have like a little warm bubble. Well, unfortunately, that may just be warm enough just to be some light rain, kind of getting mixed in there. But eventually, you guys should transition over to snow at some point, at least a couple points. You'll probably have some wet snow going on. But this Hermal is suggesting it could be a mostly rain event, which can bring down some of those snowfall amounts. And that's the region to watch as of right now. And as we continue up to the northeast, you got widespread light snow across most of New England, with rounds of heavy snow, especially along the east coast of New Jersey, New York State, even around Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. Those regions may be able to see a decent amount of snow out of it. Now let's take a look at some of these snowfall amounts, which I know that Hermal is right now updating. But while I was talking about that little warm bubble around Washington D.C., maybe up to close to Philadelphia, shows nearly nothing in some of those regions. But I think that's going to be a little bit underdone. But we're going to see about that. But look back across, even especially eastern Tennessee, we're starting to see some of these snowfall totals rise across some of these regions here. We're now starting to see some places maybe getting over 5 inches of snow in some of these places here. So that's something interesting to note. And then as you move up into the northeast, kind of close to around New York City, just to the northwest, where some of these regions not too long ago got slammed by over 2 feet of snow, could see possibly adding maybe 4 inches of snow, which seems to be a possibility across those regions. We have some uncertainty on the placement of this here. We got some malls that's kind of a little bit more. Let me rewrite that. Hold on. So we got some malls that kind of show it something like this, and you got some malls a little bit further inland there. So we gotta watch for that, which I'll show you guys some of the other malls. And like I was talking about right around Washington, D.C., look at here, temperature of 34 degrees. Now, it could still possibly snow around 34 degrees, but it can also still rain. You could probably have a mix of some heavy wet snow and maybe some light rain, but we're going to see about that. It's going to be a little bit of a close call for around Washington, D.C. because of these warm temperatures that could be sneaking in around some of those regions there. So we're going to watch for that. There could be a snow hole again for Washington, D.C., which I'm saying that's a possibility. It may happen. We'll see. But let's take a look to the rapid refresh. It's nearly the same thing. It's pretty interesting, but this model has not been doing a good job, just to let you guys know. But man, it is just some places only getting 1 to 3 inches. That is some pretty low amounts up there. Around Washington, D.C., under an inch. But look across western North Carolina. Now, I think this is way too far to the east here. You can see here, compared to what the last model shows, it's definitely a little bit further east, but I think this is too far east to my taste, and I think it's a little bit of an outlier at this point here. But again, I'll just say it's just not a 100% great model. Harris Canadian shows to be a little bit further west than what the rapid refresh shows. You can see a widespread 1 to 3 amounts, some areas picking up 3+ inches in some of those regions. Around Washington, D.C., again, under an inch in some places, but that could be a little bit underdone. And around the mountains of western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, southeastern Kentucky, western North Carolina, I'm at Virginia, and maybe even southern West Virginia, can see some spots picking up over 3 inches of snow, especially in those higher elevations there as well. And again, we're starting to see some trends of a little bit higher amounts in some of those places. Now here comes the high-res NAM, and tell you what, it's definitely different than what some of the other models show, especially for the Northeast. It's actually got a little bit more widespread, 5 to 9 inches of snow in some places, but I think this is going to be a little bit overdone, in my opinion. Although we could still see some spots maybe reaching a little over 5 inches, but we'll see. But the mountains of western Virginia, western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, southeastern Kentucky, and even eastern West Virginia, excuse me, some spots could see over 5 inches of snow as well. In the lower elevations, we'll see a little bit lower amounts. We'll probably talk about lower elevations, maybe 1 to 3 inches. Some places could see a little bit higher, but those higher elevations can likely see over 5 inches of snow, which I think that's a no doubt about thing. And the NAM is pretty similar to the high-res NAM as well, but I think some of these regions here is a little bit overdone, especially for the Northeast. But it's also showing a little bit more widespread event too. So that'll be something to watch, but NAM could be a little bit of an outlier, which it's done okay this winter. Same way for the high-res NAM, but we'll see what happens here. So this is the official snowfall forecast. Well, not completely official, but this is the first call for the eastern United States. And like I said, the mountains of western Virginia, western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, and even southeastern Kentucky, and even into southern West Virginia, where some of those areas could see 3 to 5 inches of snow, and those higher elevations could see over 5 inches. In this area where I have circled around Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia, so the current forecast is 1 to 3 inches. I don't think we'll see areas getting under an inch, to be honest. I think that's a little bit underdone. But here's the case here. If you look at this box here, so forecast 1 to 3 inches. So if this is going to be like a boom, which that means a lot of snow could happen, it could be 3 to 5 inches of snow. Some areas could see slightly higher amounts. If it's a bust, coding to 1. So basically, you could say under an inch if this is going to be a bust. But it's going to be a tough forecast for those regions there, which the last time I made a forecast did not do so hot in some of these regions here. But that would be something to watch here. And we should have a better idea of the models, but I don't think I won't be too surprised if the high-res NAM and the NAM back off on some of these snowfall mounts. I think they're a little bit too much. This area may need to be expanded a little bit further to the northwest and probably downgrade some of these regions to 1 to 3. But right now I have 3 to 5 inches for Rhode Island, central and eastern Connecticut, Long Island, and also eastern Massachusetts. Again, that may have to be expanded a little bit further to the northwest, and then it goes off the screen here, but going off the coast, going along the coast of Maine, those places can see 1 to 3 inches of snow. And then everybody inland, this is going to be a widespread snow event, but it won't be much. Generally speaking, coating to 1 inch, those higher elevations can see over an inch of snow, but that's just mainly for those higher elevations. But right now, I do have some pretty decent confidence with this forecast. Probably give it probably an 80% confidence on this forecast here, and that could be raised later tonight, wherever the 18Z and the 0Z models come out. And we should have a little better idea on this tonight. And I'll probably make an updated forecast tonight. So if you guys want an updated forecast, you can always follow me on Twitter. The link will be in the description down below. So let's take a look to the National Weather Service forecast. So this was issued 1 o'clock earlier today. And you can see here, they show pretty decently high amounts across Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and also Long Island, showing some places getting 5 to 8 inches of snow, some areas getting over 8 inches. That may be a possibility, but I think they may be a little bit overdone in some of those spots across those regions. Look right around Washington, D.C. The National Service is currently forecasting 3 to 5 inches, but that may be downgraded later today, just depending on where the trends are going. So far, the trends are going to lower amounts in those regions there. So I won't be too surprised if they bring down some of those snowfall totals. And if you look into the mountains of western North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, places getting over 5, 6 inches of snow, I think that's just to be expected. Southeastern Kentucky, 3 to 5 inches. Some of these amounts here will probably get upgraded. We've been trending higher amounts across those regions there as well. But then again, we do have some uncertainty with this forecast, but we should have a better idea with this. But pretty interesting forecast by the National Service offices, to say the least. The last thing we're going to take a look into is the Weather Prediction Center winter storm impacts. With some of these regions here in the red, you can see a couple spots here and there. Those are going to be some major impacts. And it seems like some major impacts could occur around some of those big cities like New York City, maybe Philadelphia, and even some of these higher elevations as well. So we'll be seeing about that. Areas in the orange, these are moderate impacts, not too big of a deal there. In areas in the yellow, minor impacts, that's just not too big of a deal either. In areas in the blue, just limited impacts, not too big of a deal either. But if anybody's in like the orange and the red colors, they'll be the areas to focus. But if you guys are in like in the yellow and even the light blue, those some of those roads will probably still be a little bit slick out there, so be careful as well. So, but pretty decent forecast by the Weather Prediction Center. But anyways, guys, that's all for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you really do like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, you can put a comment section down below. I'll answer you guys' questions. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.